please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And I've been listening to Big Finish. I used to listen to a lot of Big Finish, quite a lot less now. And this one took me a while to plow through, right? It took me a real while to plow through. Not because it was particularly bad, but it wasn't particularly good, right? And I feel that's where a lot of Big Finish stuff is right now. We've had a lot of very bad releases from Big Finish over the last few years. I mean, genuinely bad releases. And I think they turned the corner to a great extent. I think the release has been stronger this year than I think the relaunch has been really good. I still say it's such a tragedy what happened to the main range. You know, the main range was such an event every month. It took us through the wilderness years, right? We absolutely enjoyed, and it developed its own lore, its own feeling, its own style, right? And it just like fell apart. It became a place to try out new writers who weren't very good and who were predominantly hired because they're women. And I'm sorry to say it so bluntly, but they were predominantly hired because of women, because they didn't have any bloody aptitude to write Doctor Who, that's for sure. So I think they're over that problem about this. This release just lives to classic Doctors, New Monsters. It came out when? At the end of July. It's August, September, October. It took me 3 months. It took me 3 months to get through it. There's other releases I really want to get to, right? I really want to listen to the Bernie Summerfield release with David Warner. That really excites me. But then the Kaleidoscope came out, which I actually want to listen to more. And I have a need to listen to that more because it's more popular, right? And so I need to finish that quickly so I can do a review. And reviews normally get better the closer to release, which is why, I'm a bit miffed this took me so incredibly long to get to, but it was just a slog to get through, right? That's basically the instant review. It was just a slog to get through, but I'm just hoping, they're turning the boat around slowly. However, I am out this range. I mean, I'll have a look to see what the next one, if they've got a new one released for, new one scheduled for next, but I think I'm probably out this range because this one was just so underwhelming, right? So deeply underwhelming to the point where I couldn't bloody listen to it. It just took me freaking forever. By the way, if you heard a rumor that Big Finish are losing their license because Russell Davies' new production of Doctor Who, owned by Bad Wolf, owned by Sony, and they're looking for an international distributor like Audible. That was a rumor, definitely doing the rounds. Fear not. I believe Big Finish have the license till 2030, right? It was like till 2023 and then to 2026, and then they got. I remember they have the license, I believe, till 2030. I don't think that rumor has any credibility to it whatsoever. Plus, we know Rusty Davis actually does actively like Big Finish. He recruited a lot for Big Finish writers in 2005. In fact, I think it was Mao Young. Was it Mao Young who wanted to cancel their license? It was back in 2003, 2004 when they're going their first production meeting. I think it was Mao Young. He was like one of the big head honchos at the BBC. Somebody asked in this meeting, what about Big Finish? Right? And the BBC were under a lot of fire right then because they released some, I think, direct-to-video EastEnders release, or maybe it's audio, and they charged for it, and it was like, you're a public broadcaster, you can't charge for your things. So it was a real problem for their charter. So Mao Young was, as soon as he heard of it, Rusty Davis knew, as soon as Mao Young heard about Big Finish, he's like, what? No, get rid of that. We can take it in-house. No, we can't do that at all. Rusty Davis then stood up, maybe, I don't think he stood up in the meeting and said, don't worry, Mao, I've got everything completely under control. I know what we're doing with Big Finish. You're like, yeah, okay then. So he saved Big Finish. Hopefully his return will save it again, because this release was a little bit a little bit dire. Wasn't dire? No, it's not dire. It's just underwhelming. Fine, before we get the review, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are very, very good. Thank you. Genuinely thank you for doing that. It really helps me. Sign up my Substack. It's an email newsletter. It's in the video notes. I put a bunch of old stuff in there, right? I got a complete digital depository of old Doctor Who magazines. So I put, out of print stuff. I don't want to rip things off, but out of print stuff, like old reviews from 20 years ago and news from 20 years, and I like the ads as well. So I put those a lot of the times in my email. So please sign up for that. it's free. It's free. You also have a paid one. It's $5 a month. This month you're getting this graphic novel, The Imperium, a love letter to telefantasy of the 1960s. Fantastic artwork by Dominic Rancho. I wrote this, and it is, how will I describe it? Wonderful in every way. There's a great backup strip in it called The Ice Warriors. Sana Cardacelli did the artwork on that. I did the colouring. I wrote it as well. I wrote it there. You get the full. It's a great package, right? $5. It's going out this month. Thank you very much, and thank you for your support. Obviously, next month you're going to get chapters of my new book as I'm writing it. Eki Thump, the Guide to the Jodie Whittaker Era, or something along that line. It's what it's going to be called, because I think we need to remember that era, right? And you need a guide. You need a guide for the unwary. Fine, like, share, subscribe, comment, Substack. Let's start talking about this release. Classic Doctors, New Monsters. Well, I think the big problem with this is they weren't really very good monsters they picked, right? They picked monsters that are somewhat easy to write around. You had the Moxa Balhoun, or Hoxa Balhoun in this case, Trivian. But again, none of these are great monsters from the modern era. And the head crabs, like the head crabs was basically there so they could get, who was it, to play Santa Claus, and it kind of made sense in the Christmas special, right? And that's really the only reason they were there. I quite like the head crab episode, though, but I think I like it because of Capaldi's performance. Not because they were particularly good monsters, and that's really the problem with this. There weren't actually any very good monsters. In fact, there's a strong argument to make that half of them weren't monsters at all, and the other half were all the same ones. I mean, you had the same monsters, the head crabs in two stories, and then other monsters. It just didn't really work together. I mean, if you look at the cover is somewhat bland and nonsensical. Why is Colin Baker in colour and everybody else in black, in like monotone? I really don't understand, right? Much like the release, it just doesn't work. It really doesn't work at all. If you haven't worked out yet, this is not a recommend, right? This is not a recommend at all. So let's have a look at the individual stories. The house that the Hawks built by Tim Foley. Tim Foley recently did 40 Volume 2, which is basically Genesis of the Autons, sort of Genesis of the Autons, with a fifth Doctor story. Freaking awesome, right? Freaking awesome. I was really worried about it going in because Tim Foley wrote this, and I just didn't like it at all. Couldn't carry through. When the third Doctor and Sarah journey far into the future of Earth, the last thing they expect to find on the planet is a haunted house. Invited to dinner by the Hoxa Balhoun and his ovine ward, the TARDIS travellers experience a strange and disturbing phenomena, and the Doctor is determined to discover the cause. So this is kind of a good Halloween-y episode, and it would have worked in kind of a Halloween-y box set. But it was just, again, bland. It was a bit bland. The Hoxa Balhoun isn't a great monster. He's not a monster. He's a villain, if anything else, and he wasn't even that, right? It was, again, the haunted houseness of it kind of worked. Tim Trelaw is very, very good, as is Sadie Miller. Sadie Miller, I really didn't like her when she started doing a mother's role of, I was going to say Liz Sladen, or Sarah Jane Smith. She's really kind of worn into the role now. And I think she generally speaking works quite well. So it's fun hearing them, right? It is fun hearing them. I would say get Kaleidoscope instead. And one episode in is much better than this, right? But it's kind of a good Halloween-y episode. They really, again, the lack of consistency on this box set of these that you have a theme for half of it and not a theme for the other half, and again, the monsters are underwhelming, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe they've run out of good monsters in the current era. I don't know. I mean, look, they're not doing the Terror of Tim Shaw, are they? The second story is nearly one of the best on the release. On the set, it's still not that great. The Trivolian that knew too much by Robert Valentine. By the way, I did hear I cannot confirm or deny. A lot of people were very upset by Robert Valentine's release with H.P. Lovecraft, where it was very overtly racist and very. The word on the street is this: that might not have been Robert Valentine's idea or Big Finishes. That might have been the license holder. I don't wanted that to happen. Don't be mad at them about that, right? It does kind of fit into the pattern. Taking an Italian holiday, the Fourth Doctor and Leela encounter another tourist from very far from home. Timble Phoebus is a particularly timid Tivolian, but he has much to be fearful about. So the Italian setting, I think it's set in the 1970s, really works, right? That's fun. That's really, really fun. But again, the Tivolian is just not that interesting of a monster, right? Like I didn't see. It was in what? There was a couple of Tivolian stories. I didn't. It was the God Complex, which is a great story. Oh, that was a great story. I mean, that's an idea. Maybe gets better writers. Maybe get Toby Whithouse to do a box set of these. Right, I would love to hear that. Like, and he also invented the Tivolians, and also was it Under the Lake, and both of them. What's the name of that? The second part of that. Not a fantastic story, but very good in a lot of ways. Right? Again, I like Capaldi. So that all works. Guarding a vital data chip, these three visitors are caught up with the machination of the crime boss and his gang, and a very dangerous alien assassin. Again, it's kind of a fun Italian romp, but the monsters are underwhelming, right? Monsters, it's a Tivolian, it's not a monster. Together in Electric Dreams by Roy Gill. So this one's just needlessly confusing, right? Needlessly confusing, and doesn't really go anywhere either. And you keep thinking it's going to finish, and it never does, right? You just keep getting it. And then they woke up, and then they woke up. The Sixth Doctor and traveling companion Mari takes companion Mari to Archipelago of High Dreams to try and stop nightmares she's having in the TARDIS. Instead, they find the Lee Foundation, a research facility overseen by musician Tara, lulling her clients to sleep with soothing melodies, but the Cantrofari are hunting, and the mysterious green man holds the key to escape. So what they do with this is there's a bunch of people being attacked by dream crabs at the same time, and they merge together in one dream. You know instantly that Mari isn't the Doctor's companion, that something weird is going on, and it's like you keep getting reality upon reality stripped away. The motivation of the villain isn't really very strong, right? And again, that they're using dream logic all the time weakens the story, I think, right? It doesn't really it doesn't grab me at all. Dream Crabs, I think, could have been more interesting on audio, but if they wanted to do a full box set on that, it might have made sense. But even so, the Dream Crabs are the best monsters on this. And they're not very good, right? They're not very good. So we do get Paul McGann showing up here and there in this, because he's also being attacked by Dream Crabs. So they all kind of merge together. And it's okay. I mean, like, it's okay, underwhelming. I would give all these releases, I'll give about a 5 out of 10, right? So all these stories I'll give about a 4 or 5 out of 10. And If I Should Die Before I Wake by John Dorney, story by Jacqueline Rayner. This is probably the best one in the set, but if you like the Eighth Doctor and Charlie, which I happen to like a lot, and this basically seems like a refugee from the recent, what was it, a year or so ago, Eighth Doctor and Charlie set. It feels like a refugee from that, right? It's a reasonably good Eighth Doctor Charlie story. Charlie's a little bit smug through this, but they fall very, very nicely back into the patterns of 20 years ago. Let's have a read this. The Eighth Doctor and Charlie are lost in a labyrinth of monsters, and somewhere lurking are the Dream Crabs. Again, why are the Dream Crabs in 2 of these stories, and then 2 other monsters? Either have 4 different monsters or 1 repeated monster, right? I mean, when they did this before, it was with the Vashnarada. Was it Vashnarada? But they did something different with it in the second story. They made it giant instead of microscopic. From the Sphinx to Gorgon, Cerberus to Pegasus, and Greek myths are alive and threaten the TARDIS duo with every turn. How long until their fates unravel and the truth is revealed. So the main thing about this is the two-hander I didn't notice. India Fisher is fantastic in this. She plays basically all the roles, and she's very, very, very strong, right? And I like it. It feels right. The Eighth Doctor and Charlie going through Greek myth after Greek myth after Greek myth. The danger isn't really there. You don't really feel it's real until towards the end when the narrative shifts somewhat. But this is still the best release on the set. I would say I'll give it like a 5.5 or a 6 out of 10. This is like one of the okay other stories in a good box set, right? So yeah, this is not a recommend. I'm afraid, just because it's a bit bland, right? It's a bit bland. It feels like by contractual demand. So I'm really thinking I'm out this range. I like the first two, I think, but now I'm basically done. Are they doing another one? Broken Memories. Let's see if we got any information about that yet coming out. When is this? Oh, they got the. What is this is October next year. Doctor Who Classic Doctor Who New One, Broken Memories. So we got Weeping Angels, TikTok droids. Did we ever have those before? And what else? I mean, not Weeping Angels, Silence. Silence. And the Silence are good villains. So we got Invasion of the Body Stealers, the Queen of Clocks, the Silent Priest, and the Silent City. So again, seems to be the Silence over two of them. Queen of Clocks. Then I wonder what the Body Stealers one is about. There seems to be kind of a brain thing in the background. I don't know who the Body Stealers are, right? But you got Tom Baker, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann. It's a little bit of a lackluster cover, isn't it? I think I'm out, right? I like David K. Barnes, and Jacqueline Reiner's good. I don't know. Look, I might be $20. $20 just seems. I don't know. On the strength of the last one, I'm not overly hopeful. So we got Bonnie Langford is in it. So she's going to be with Sylvester McCoy, and Tom Baker's with Sadie Miller, I think. Sadie Miller. Sylvester McCoy. Do we have any others? Anybody else in it? Let's look at the cast. Minna Anwar. Okay, 2BA. Nick Briggs as a Silent. So we got Mel and Sarah Jane Smith. Okay, we don't know who else is in it right now. Fine, next year. It's coming out, when's it? October next year. Listen, mate, we're getting ready for Russell Lee Davies' new story. October next year. This one, I think this one's going to be a bit forgettable, right? I think this one's probably going to be a bit forgettable, this is how I would describe the current one. A bit forgettable. Not really worth your $20, right? Not really worth your $20. Put it on the streaming servers or something and get people interested in Big Finish. Because I don't know, I just don't think this is worth the money. Genuinely do not think it's worth the money. And I feel bad about that, right? Although, as I said, I don't want to diss Big Finish because I love Big Finish. I'm enjoying Kaleidoscope. That's been very good so far. I look forward to finishing that so I can do my review shortly. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.